Ladies and gentlemen, this is MMA Draft. That is Ricky Steele in Boise, Idaho, and I am Frank Trigg here in the Don Best Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm having a problem, Ricky. At my age of wisdom, we'll call it, instead of calling me old, I'm starting to realize that all you guys are starting to compete at like 10, 11, 12 years old. Why did you start competing at 10 years old? What possessed you to be in this kind of combative state at 10 and not doing something simple like soccer or something else like that?
I don't know what you mean by your age. I know you're a young man, Mr. Trigg, but my grandfather got me into the martial arts when I was really young, the age of 5, so I just fell in love with it, did it many, many hours at such a young age, and I've had the chance to compete all over the world, so, you know, now it's time to take it to the next step and prove my style inside the cage.
And when you say competed all over the world, what do you mean by all over the world? So I talked to a lot of guys like, yeah, I've competed all over the world, and they mean the U.S. and Canada. Can you explain a little bit more about some of the places you've been?
Oh, absolutely. Well, all over the United States, of course, but, you know, my favorite trip and one of the biggest tournaments was in Japan, and I was there for a couple weeks and, you know, got to see the whole crew, where the roots of my style actually came from. It was a great time.
Where in Japan were you?
I was all over in Japan, you know, Tokyo and was where the tournament was, but just many, many places that I can't even really pronounce, to be honest.
Yeah, it's, I've been to Tokyo, well, I've been to Japan total 42 times. Tokyo, I think of it was 36. And I still have, I just have to point to the map and go, I was there, and I was there.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. Of your training and of your spacing, now you're trying to get into mixed martial arts, and I ask this question to a lot of guys. What's the toughest transition for you? Because you obviously come from a striking background. Is the wrestling tougher, or is jiu-jitsu tougher for you?
You know, it's definitely the grappling perspective of it. I'm picking them up both very well. I'd have to say that wrestling is quickly becoming my second best attribute. I'm over at Combat Fitness, where I wrestle every day with, you know, wrestlers of the highest level. So, you know, and that just has really played well into my style. With my striking, I can mix it up with the wrestling. But, you know, I'm pretty long and lanky for my weight, so I've learned how to use my legs, and, you know, I'm kind of enjoying the jiu-jitsu. I enjoy it all, so I learn it all so much and pick it up very quickly.
Now, what's your amateur record right now?
4-0.
Do you have a number? Like, is it 20 amateur fights you want to have? Is it 10 amateur fights you want to have before you make the jump to pro? Or are you going to wait for your coaches and your training staff to tell you, hey, you're ready to make the jump into pro now?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I have a lot of great people helping me out. When they say it's ready, I'll believe them. I feel I'm ready. Hopefully here I'll be able to compete at Rumble on the Ridge coming up next month. After that, I believe I got one more fight here in town. So after these next 2 amateur fights, we'll take it from there and see where we are. Really, it's I feel like my skills are good enough to compete at the pro level. I just would like to practice the weight cut a couple more times.
What weight do you compete at?
I fight at bantamweight, 135.
And how much you weigh right now?
150.
So it's a little bit of a weight cut, and you're younger, so it's not going to be too difficult. But as you get older, things start slowing down a little bit. But really, going from 150 to 135 is a pretty significant jump. You know, at that size of weight, it's a huge percentage.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're doing to keep your body weight down and to help you with the weight cut?
You know, every day I learn new recipes that I could add into, you know, my diet and whatnot. I'm very, very into eating healthy, training all the time, but you know, I am very new to making the weight cut. I have done it several times now, so I'm getting more and more comfortable with it, absolutely. So I feel like here in the next couple of runs, I will pretty much have it down.
What are some of the things you take from like Kempo karate and your traditional style that you're moving into MMA that helps you learn a lot quicker than the other guys? Because you come from a traditional martial arts background. A lot of guys come from some things that aren't considered as traditional, but karate is very, very traditional. And so for you, what are you taking from karate that you're moving to MMA that makes you stand out above the rest of the guys?
Well, I, you know, bring a style that most people haven't really seen. I'm able to utilize it well, you know, with the takedowns and whatnot. But the biggest thing that has been the best for me, I'd say, is, you know, being a martial artist. I'm very open-minded, and, you know, I'm just so willing to learn. There's not one way to kick, punch, wrestle, anything like that, you know. So just being open-minded and being able to learn bits and pieces from everybody and incorporate it into my game.
Now, if say Dana White or Joe Silva or Sean Shelby calls you today, and they say, hey, we want you to fight in the UFC. We know it's your first pro fight. It's a huge jump up, but somebody fell off the card. We need you to fight for us in January. At the weight class you see right now in the UFC at 135, who do you see as a potential matchup for you, if anybody at all?
Well, there's I would jump on if that ever was to happen, that would be great. But I'd like to fight some of the best strikers in the world to prove my style. You know, I can name a bunch of them. Dominic Cruz, #1. He's up there. He's where I want to be. So, you know, I actually believe I got a style that would be a bad matchup for Mr. Cruz, but time will tell.
You know, and it's not, you're not calling anybody out. I want everybody to think at home when they're watching this, though. He's calling out Dominic Cruz. He's just stating that if he gets a phone call from the UFC and he wants to step up, he'd like to fight another striker, because that's what fighters want to do. We want to compete against the best guys in our discipline to find out if we're better on that given night. Now, with Ricky living in Boise and Boise's kind of considered an isolated spot. There's not that many great fighters that come out of that space. Who are some of the guys you're training with right now to get ready to make, for your next amateur fight in February?
You're right. You know, it is kind of quiet, but if you was to come down and see what we got going down at the gym, you might think otherwise. A lot of great people. Scott Jorgensen, very, very successful fighter in the UFC. Jesse Brock, Scott Tometz, Brandon Hempelman, who's just, came off a big win. I've got so many people. Chuck Fordyce. I mean, I can go on and on and on. So, and it makes it all great is because they're all like in the littler weight classes. They're all around the same weight, and we get after it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it makes it easier when you have a ton of training partners. That's one of the things that the gyms in America are starting to show up, that all the guys are sticking together. They're around the same weight class. Like Team Alpha Male up there in Northern California, and Alliance Gym down in San Diego. It's all the guys about the same size, all kind of getting together, combining together, and being in that space. And that's what we're doing here at Couture's in Las Vegas. How important is it to have a guy like Scotty Jorgensen to train with every day? That he just had a great victory in the UFC last month.
It's been great. I'm able to see like where I'm at. Scotty beats me up every day, but I hope to give him a run for his money as well. And I'm doing pretty well, and it is just great having somebody you can see right there is very successful, how hard they work, and what they do. And like I said, I'm very open-minded. I learn from him. I learn from all the guys in my gym.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Ricky Steele in Boise, Idaho. I'm Frank Trigg here in the Don Best Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is MMA Draft. We'll see you next time.